it's kind of like Apocalypse Now, but then you get through the first half and you're like, oh, there's 52 more minutes. Oh no,
I've never
the
seen
good stuff's
Apocalypse.
already over.
The
first half at Camp Lejeune or wherever the Marines go is good. Camp Charlottesville, whatever y'all do. But then they go to Vietnam, and it's like, oh, it's Stanley Kubrick's Vietnam, which is like depressing. Even when they win the big battle at the end and they get the sniper's a teenage girl who's like fighting for her homeland, right? She's a little girl dying and like coughing up blood in her last moments. And they're like, oh yeah, we got her, the one that killed Big Bob and Little Mike or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it was just a little girl like hiding.
Yeah, just someone with a rifle trying to fight back. That's pretty fucked up. Have you? It reminds me of that movie. What you're saying reminds me of it because I haven't seen Apocalypse Now. Full Metal Jacket.
No, not that's what I'm saying.
You're saying Full Metal Jacket. It sounded so much like it.
And I was wrong.
Okay, so I have seen Full Metal Jacket, and there is no movie that in the first half I'm like when they're at boot camp and everything, I'm so invested, I'm so in, I'm rocking and rolling. It's awesome. The second they go to Vietnam, that movie turns into a dog turd. It's boring
I turn it off.
Shit. I remember watching that movie the first time and like getting
fast
3/4 of the way through and being like, what happened? We were rolling, and now we're doing nothing in Vietnam, and it sucks, and I don't care. They set the anchor point of what were going to be the concerns early, and then they dilly-dallied on that too long, and it made it so I was no longer invested in the other plot points that I was supposed to be invested in at that point in the film.
And look, I've watched some YouTube videos about what Stanley Kubrick was going for there, and all the symbolism that's present.
I'm going to make a shitty movie in this.
but what I wanted, especially when I was younger, when I got there, I was like, all right. Fucking Joker and the boys are like, I don't remember the what they said, but they're like fire hardened and battle ready or whatever the fuck they said, like man born again or whatever they said. And it's like, fuck yeah, we're gonna go to Vietnam and fuck some nips up and get some goop blood on us or whatever they were gonna do. Yeah. And they get there and it's like
all the Asian words.
Yeah, all of them, nips and zips, and they get over there, and it's like, man, there's no glory to be found here. It's just like gruesome, and like I remember right away the one guy's like posing with the dead Viet Cong, and it's like, oh, so off-putting, and like there's no glory to be had. Even the guy, there's the guy shooting the civilians out the side.
Which one is this we're talking about now? Where are we going?
It's a Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we've been talking about the whole time.
Talking about the second half before. The trash.
Yeah, the second half in Vietnam. He's shooting the M60 out the window, and it's women and children in like the rice paddy fields, just farming. And the guy and he's like, get some. And the guy's like, you kill women and children? How can you kill? He goes, sometimes. How can you shoot women and children? They're yelling because they're in a chopper.
Yeah.
He's it's easy. You just don't lead them so much. Fuck. And that's like his introduction to. He's like flying in, right? Yeah. Like to the shit, and it's just like one depressing thing after another. Stanley Kubrick wants to completely deflate any idea you had that Vietnam was some heroic cowboy riding in to serve some justice up to the bad guys. It's like, no, war's
he's
hell.
Like Fortunate Son wasn't even played once. Not once.
Yeah, that's a real downer. Apocalypse Now, on the other hand,
yes, is that worth watching? I have not seen it.
Apocalypse Now is what's funny about Apocalypse Now as a movie is like that's a movie where they got Marlon Brando to be in it, to be like the main bad guy, and he was like, okay, but I'm not wearing pants the whole time. And they're like, okay, we'll shoot him from the waist up. And he's like, yeah. And you can't light me. And they're like, what? He's like, I have to be in the dark.
What?
Yeah. And
so he's always sitting?
Yeah, he's not lit up. He's in the dark.
So
is the pants thing like an old tale, or is that?
And he was like really bad at knowing his lines in other movies. So like in Godfather and stuff, he like looks around as he talks, but everywhere he's looking, there's copies of his lines pasted behind the camera. So he's actually looking at his lines because he's bad at remembering them.
Oh, that's true. A little addendum though on the on Apocalypse Now. The reason that he's in the shadows and dark.
Oh yeah,
his face. Taylor, the man showed up 50 or 60 pounds overweight.
I think it was more
Like,
egregious. I think it was
I
like
think
over
it was-
100. I think it was like 100,
100
150.
pounds
They
overweight.
wanted like it was supposed to be this handsome young actor, and
They
he was
wanted
like
a
the biggest, fattest
battle-hard-
monster.
So his character. So here's the premise of Apocalypse Now. It's a really good premise. Martin Sheen is a lieutenant or something like that, and he's been in Nam for a while. He's been the shit. He's battle hardened, and his superiors are call him into a meeting, and the meeting has a lot of like A-list actors later on.
Yeah, I'm looking
You'll-
right
you'll-
now. This is stacked. Lawrence.
This is a
Fishburne,
great
Martin
movie. You're actually
Sheen,
lucky.
Dennis
So-
Hopper,
I'm gonna
Harrison
rewatch
Ford.
this movie.
and they tell him in this meeting, like this top secret meeting, we want you to go into the shit. This colonel, he's one off the reservation. He's over in Cambodia. He's working with some kind of crazy stuff. He's not obeying orders. He's killing this. He's killing that. He's not listening to reason. And he's like, so you want me to go in and get him, bring him back to you, bring him to the real world, something like that? He's like, no, we want him gone, eliminated. They want him to kill him. They're sending him on a seek and destroy mission against their own colonel. And so he has to go on this Lord of the Rings-esque journey, sort of like, because he's like off the grid, right? He's not regular army. He's not anything. He's a man being sent by the CIA and maybe the Marine Corps to go take out a colonel. So he's like, sometimes he's with like those guys on the boats, that do the river patrol. And then he's in they're like one of those shows where the Playboy bunnies came and like put on a show for the soldiers, and like he's making his way through country to get to the colonel. And the colonel, again, is supposed to have been off the reservation, badass colonel. Now he's got like his own Cambodian hit squad, and he's been living in the jungle on fucking rice, beans, and fucking hate for the Communist Party. And you get there, and my man has put on some masks. They light him.
The bad kind, right?
They light him with flickering candlelight, and he's sweating profusely. So much so that they must have been dousing him with water, or it's the sweat of a very morbidly obese man in actual Cambodia, I think, or Vietnam, wherever the fuck they were. They went.
Yeah, so it's humid as shit. It's Southeast Asia.
It's pouring off of him when he delivers his lines, but it's still, he's such a good fucking actor. He kills. I remember the horror. It's so good.
You know what he used to do also?
It's like
real
3
quick?
hours long.
He used to show up on
There's
set.
3 different versions.
He would show up on set, and his first take, he would purposefully not act that well. And if the director was like, okay, and they were too intimidated to tell him what the fuck, he gave that level of shitty acting the rest of the movie. But the first day, if he did his take and you were like, what? No, you're going to have to do better than that. He would be like, a real director, I'm going to work for you. And then he would give 120%.
Marlon Brando.
I knew it was going to be.